Hello again mga Bebe Loves. So, it's me again, your Mom Allen. And this video is the continuation of the Basic Long-Term Financial Concept Part 1. So, we already talked about the simple and compound interest, also the future and the present value of money, but we are only on the mixed stream. So that is the second basic pattern. So now let's go to the annuities. Annuity is a stream of equal periodic cash flow over a specific period. Ordinary annuity, daw po, is the payment or the cash flow at the end of each period, which is usually annually. However, annuity is the cash flow which happens at the beginning naman po of the period. Same with the mixed stream and the lump sum. We have for future value and computation for the present value. So let's start with the computation in the future value. So the formula is the future value of ordinary annuity is equal to the cash flow multiplied by 1 plus the rate raised to the time less 1 over the rate. Or, you can multiply yung cash flow by the factor in the table. Okay? So, how to use the table? So, you can see the table in attached maybe at the end of the module that I give to you. So, this is the table which I am talking about. Okay, so later on, i-discuss natin siya doon sa magiging illustration natin. So for illustration, Makisig wants to know how much the value of his money will be if he saves 17,000 pesos yearly for 5 years with an interest rate of 7% per year. Okay, so if we use the formula, the computation will be future value of annuity is equal to 17,000 multiplied by 1 plus the 0.7 or 0.07 or the 7% per year raised to 5 for the 5 years less 1 over 0.07. So you will have the 17,000 multiplied by 5.75074 or will equal to the 97,762.58. So if we use the table, the computation will be from here na. Okay, so let's go to the table. So how to use? Search the rate at the top row and the number of period on the leftmost column. Let's go na to the table for future value of ordinary annuity. So, doon sa how to use, these are the rate per period. So, ayan po, yung mga may percentage, 0.25, 0.5 hanggang 12%. So, these are the rate. Doon sa given natin, 7%. So, dito natin siya hanapin. Paano natin nahanapin yung year? Nandito po sa gilid. So, from 1 to 50 po itong table na to. So, makukuha po natin yung 5.75074 dito. So, bilang tayo ng 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, ganun lang po kadali gamitin tong table na ito. Now, let's go back to the module. Okay, so that is for future value of ordinary annuity. Same din naman po. If ano ang mas komportable kayong gamitin, the formula or the table. Okay, so next is the present value. Okay, let us take a look at the formula base for computing present value of ordinary annuity. Okay, so typo error po again. So this would be cash flow. Hindi po ito constant na 5,000. So this is the cash flow. Same with this one po ha. Okay, so nagkamali lang po ako. This is on the illustration. But this one should be cash flow. Any cash flow on your given problem or scenario. Multiply by 1 less 1 over 1 plus the rate raised to the time. Yan po. Over rate. Or cash flow multiplied by the factor seen in the table. So we also have a table for the present value of ordinary annuity. Okay, so let's discuss this later on the illustration. But in any way, parehas lang din po sila kung paano gamitin. Okay, so for illustration, Malaya wants to buy a phone worth 12,000. She was given two options. First, pay in cash or make a 5,000 pesos down payment, and the balance will be paid in two equal payment of 5,000 for 2 years. Given an interest rate of 10%, which is the better option for her. So, if we use the formula for computation, it will be, so 5,000, 1, then 1 over 1 plus the 10%. And you will get 1.73554. So it will equal to 8,677.70 pesos. So if we use a table, the computation will be, so it will start from here. This one. So 2 years at the rate of 10%. Punta tayo sa table. So 2 years daw po. And the 10% is the same. So you have 1.73554. Okay? So same in here. Okay? So in the illustration, pay in cash daw po of 12,000 or installment but may down payment na 5,000. Okay? So i-add po natin yung 5,000 down payment doon sa nakuha nating future value of ordinary annuity. So, it will be 13,677.70 pesos. So, based on the gathered data, the cheaper alternative is to pay in cash. So, 13,677.70 compare mo kay 12,000 kung ika-cash mo siya. Okay, now let's go to the perpetuity. Okay, so there are cases wherein cash flow is indefinite or may last forever. So it is called perpetuity. So to get the present value of perpetuity, divide the equal cash flow stream with the given interest rate. So, illustration po tayo para mas madaling intindihin. So, masayahin is expecting to receive 40,000 pesos with an interest rate in perpetuity. What is the present value? Okay, so perpetuity over the rate. So, 40,000 pesos over 0.08. So, you have 500,000 pesos. So, in perpetuity, it may last forever. So, compared to annuity, you have at least 10 years, 5 years. This is considering na magtutuloy-tuloy yung cash flow na ito. So, hanggang magkano? So, you have 500,000. Okay, so that ends the discussion for lesson 2. So, let's go now to the lesson 3, which is the loan amortization. Okay, so an amortized loan is a type of loan that requires a scheduled periodic payment of both the loan's principal and interest accrued. Okay, so you have, or we have here the contents of a typical loan agreement. You have the amount of principal, maturity date, and the provision of repayment. Okay, kung kailan mag-end, and ano ang mga other terms for repayment. Okay, term of loan. So, lump sum, monthly, semi-annually, quarterly, etc. Also have the grace period. So, if applicable, the length of time beyond the due date wherein can be paid without penalties. So, you have here the grace period. Interest rates. Then, loan covenants. So, these are example required ratios to be maintained. But also, loan covenants can be a certain conditions that is between the borrower and the lender. Okay. Next is the penalties for default or the fees for late payments and collateral documents if applicable. Okay, so before I go on with the discussion, let's have a review first. Okay, so let's first define important terms. First, loan. It is the money lent with an interest rate for a certain period of time. So loans are normally secured from different financial institutions. Already discussed this in, I think, module 2 or 3, which the most common of which are the banks. Another is a bond. This is also a form of loan, but can be traded in the Philippine dealing and exchange or PEDEX system. Okay, so let's go now to amortization or loan schedule. So this one is a detailed table that contains important details of periodic loan payment. So ito yung pag-aaral natin ngayon dito sa lesson 3. So ano pa yung mga kasama niya? Amount of principal, amount of interest for each payment. So if monthly, yearly. So until the loan is settled at the end of the given term. Okay, so there are several types of loan schedule, but dalawa lang po yung i-discuss natin in this module. Okay, so first is the even principal payment. In this type of loan schedule, from the name itself, the payment of the principal amount is evenly distributed based on the term of loan. Okay, so makikita natin later on yan. And the interest is calculated based on the unpaid balance of the each payment period. Okay, since the unpaid principal amount declines with each payment, the interest amount each loan also decreases. Okay, so dahil ang interest rate natin daw ay nakabase kay principal amount. Kapag bumaba siya, bababa rin syempre si interest. Okay, we have here an illustration. Makata Corporation avails a 5-year loan from XYZ Bank amounting to 1 million. So, na-excite ako. So, sumobra yung 0. Typographical error po ulit, sorry. With an interest rate of 8% per annum. Okay, so these are the steps. Just carefully follow the steps. Okay, calculate the installment payment of loan by dividing the principal amount to the number of payments or terms of the loan. Okay, so you have 1 million over 5. So you have 200,000 pesos. Then, compute the interest payment for first year period by multiplying the loan balance to the interest rate. So, you have 1 million times 0.08 because 8% daw po per annum ang interest rate niya. And then, add the principal payment and the interest payment to get the total payment for the period. Then, subtract the principal payment to the balance of the loan to determine the remaining unpaid loan balance. Okay, so just repeat the steps 2 to 4 until the loan balance is paid. So this will be the table or the amortization table or the loan schedule for Makata Corporation. So you have here the borrower, the loan terms, 5 years, the interest rate amount, 8%, the amount granted, which is 1 million. Let's say, for example, date granted natin is October 11, 2020. Okay, so October 11, 2020, nag-grant si loan. So the next payment will be on November 10, 2021. Okay, so nakuha natin si 800,000, si 200,000 muna po. Okay, 1 million over 5. Ito po siya. Si even principal. Nakikita nyo na po, from year 1 to year 5, pare-pares pong 200,000. Okay, then next for step 3 daw po. Ayan. Okay. Step 2 pala muna, sorry. Interest rate natin, paano nakuha to? 1 million times the interest rate na 0.08 dahil 8%. Okay, so step 3, principal plus interest, kaya natin nakuha ang total payment na 280,000 pesos. Okay, so ganun din po. Ang gagawin natin sa next step na ito. So, ulit lang po natin yung ginawa natin from step 2 to 4. So, this time, dito na po manggagamit. So, sa 800,000 pesos, multiply by the rate, 0.08, kaya natin makukuha na si 64,000 pesos. Okay, so same process. 64,000 plus 200,000, makukuha natin yung total payment for the period. So, by the next year, kay 600,000 na po, times 0.08. Nakukuha natin si 48,000. Next, 400,000 times 0.08, 32,000. And until the last payment, 200,000 multiplied by 0.08, so 16,000. Okay, so hanggang sa wala na pong matira or wala na maging unpaid balance. So, ito po, wala na siyang unpaid balance. So, total interest for 5 years, i-add po natin lahat ito. So, si 80, 64, 48, 32, 16. That will be for 240,000. Okay? And, mabubuo na po natin yung nakuhang or na-grant na loan na 1 million pesos. So, ang naging total payment natin for 5 years is 1,240,000. In cases where the interest rate or loan terms are given on monthly basis, the computation is done in the same way. So, parehas lang po. In other cases, the given interest rate is reflected yearly but the payment term is different. So, it could be semi-annual, quarterly, monthly, or even daily. So, in cases like this, make sure that the interest rate and terms of the loan are reconciled before creating a loan schedule. So, yung terms ng loan tsaka interest rate. So, i-make sure lang po natin yun. The next type of loan schedule is the even total payments naman po. Okay, in this schedule, interest rate payment declines and the principal payment increases as loan payment progress. The loan payment is constant since the decrease in the interest is being matched by the increased principal payment. Okay, so dito naman, si total payments naman po ang pare-parehas. Okay? Para mas makita natin, ito yung example natin. Or first, the steps. Let us make the even total payment loan schedule based on the previous illustration then. So, same data. Okay, to create an even total payment loan amortization schedule, these are the steps. Okay, calculate the installment payment, yearly, semi-annually, quarterly, monthly, etc. Make sure the interest rate and terms of loan are reconciled before creating loan schedule. So this is the formula. Installment payment is equal to the principal rate multiplied by 1 plus rate raised to the loan period. So ito po siya. So over 1 plus rate po ulit raised to the period of loan plus 1. Okay? So, you have here 1 million. So, since 8% po siya, 1 plus 0.08 raised to 5 over 1 plus 0.08 raised to 5 less 1. So, you will get 250,456.45. Yan, ito po siya. See? Installment payment for 5 years. Next step is compute for the interest payment for the first period by multiplying loan balance to the interest rate. So, ganun pa rin po. 1 million multiplied by 0.08, you have the 80,000 pesos. Then, get the principal payment by subtracting the interest payment to the installment payment. So, iba na po yung magkaiba na ma-idededuct natin ngayon. Then, subtract the principal payment to the loan balance to determine the remaining unpaid loan balance. Then, repeat steps 2 to 4 until the loan balance is paid. So, here is the table for the XYZ Bank. Ayan. So, you have the borrower, the loan terms, rate amount, the loan granted, and the date granted. So, same pa rin naman po doon sa nauna nating example. So, as you can see, same total payment from year 1 until year 5. That is why it is the even total payments. So, wala pong mababago dito hanggang dun sa end ng term. So, after computing the even total payments, let's go now here. So, kay 80,000. Saan nakuha si 80,000? Kay 1 million multiplied by 0.08. So, that is the interest rate. So, the next step will be the total payment, less daw po natin si interest. So, makukuha po natin doon si principal. Okay? And then, now, from 1 million less the principal amount, makukuha na po natin yung unpaid principal na 829,543.55. Okay, so ganun pa rin po. 829,543.55 multiply by 0.08. Tsaka po natin makukuha ito. Okay? Then, 250,456 less 0.45 less 66, makukuha 66,363.48. Tsaka po natin makukuha ito. So, ganoon din po uli. Ito na lang po yung matitira. Pag niless po ito, dito. So, you have 645,450.58. So, until dito. So, I have a note here. So, slight adjustment is sometimes possible at the last period payment due to the rounding of numbers. So, I use Excel, in computing this table. So, ito kasi yung lalabas doon. Kaya, meron note na due to the rounding of numbers. Ito kasi yung lalabas. Though, sinero out ko na siya dito. Because even here, ang number na rin naman niya is magpa-fall near to 0. So, lalakayan ko siya ng konti. Hindi ko siya 150. Ayun. Lumaka siya. So, this is a table. So, 0.02 ang lalabas sa kanya. And, in-add ko na siya dito. Magiging 1 million na ito. Okay? So, that is why yun yung nailabas or yun yung inilagay ko na sa module natin. Yan. So, 0 na po siya dito. Kaya, nakuha ko rin po yung 1 million. But, if you add this 5 principal payment, ang lalabas nga po sa kanya is ito. Okay, so, meron akong napansin dito. Baka ma-confuse lang din ang lahat. So, typo error po ito uli ha. This should be October. So, wala pong month na 20. So, this is 10 po dapat. So, instead of 20. Palitan na lang po natin sa, if yung gagawa kayo ng sarili nyong Excel, yan. Nakipalitan na lang po. So, that ends the discussion for the 2 loan payment schedule. So, let's go now to the effective annual interest rate. Okay, effective annual interest rate is the actual return of interest-bearing investment or saving account. So, the real interest owned in a loan or other debts. So, in most transactions that involve interest rate is mostly reflected as annual rate. Okay, but the compounding frequency may be different in which will affect the actual amount of interest. So, yung compounding, marami din ang nagiging effect nito or malaki din ang nagiging effect if it is semi-annually, quarterly, or monthly. Okay, to easily understand the effective annual rate, annual interest rate, this is an example. So, you were looking for a bank to invest your money in. So, you were offered 2 different investment plans from 2 banks. So, first is the BBB Bank, offered an investment plan with a 15% interest compounded monthly. And VVV Banks offered you an investment plan with 15.4% interest compounded semi-annually. So, which would you choose? So, using this effective annual interest formula, makikita nyo kung alin yung mas magandang piliin sa dalawang bank. But if you just look on the nominal interest rate, you will probably choose nga daw this one. So, kasi may 0.4% siya. Kung yung titingnan nyo lang yung figures. Okay? So, since mas higher nga naman siya ng 0.4. But, yun nga ba ang tamang choice? Sabi niya. What is it? The right choice? So, the formula for effective annual interest rate is 1 plus the R or the annual interest rate over the M, frequency of compounding, raised to still the M, the frequency of compounding less 1. Okay, so this is the comparison of the 2 banks. So, here you have the 0.1608 or 16.08% Then for the VVV bank, you have the 0.1599 or the 15.99%. So based on the computation, although VVV bank seems to have a higher nominal interest rate of 15.4%, but based on the effective annual interest rate, BBB bank's plan is better for investor since you have 16% over 15.99%. So kung investor ka, mas mainam na pumunta ka kay BBB Bank. But when it comes on a loan or other interest-bearing debt, it would be better for the borrower to look for a lower effective annual interest rate. So kung ikaw naman ay borrower, mas pipiliin mo si BBB. But in our case, ikaw ay naghahanap ng bank na mapaglalagyan mo ng pera. So that ends the discussion for the Module 8. So, end na rin ng Lesson 3. So, you have here the activities. Okay. So, direction, identify the principal, interest rate, time of the following event. Then, compute for the simple and compound interest. Round off to 2 decimal places. Okay. So, you can use this table. So, here are the events that you can analyze or you can have a practice. And then, for activity 2, future and present value of money. Okay, compute for future and or present value of money, whichever is needed in the given problems. Okay. So, you have 3 items, and for item number 4, what is the future and present value when a 7,000 peso single cash outflow is made with a given combination of discount rates and time? Okay, so time, ito po siya, and the interest rate. And for activity 3, for our lesson 3, loan amortization, solve the given problem and fill out the table with your answers. Okay. So these are the table that you can use. And a simple question, if you are the borrower, which is a better option for you and why? Okay. So next is what I have learned. Just complete these sentences based on your understanding in the lesson. Okay, so in what I can do, go back to what's more activity number 3. What's more activity number 3? This one. Okay, on a separate sheet of paper, create the loan amortization schedule based on the data of each scenario and each of the options are provided. So, first bank and second bank. Okay, and you have your assessment. So, you have here the 10 items assessment. So, ayun, for additional activity, based dun sa mga ginawa nating mga computations. So, discuss your understanding in this one, and this quotation. Just write it in your notebook. Okay? So that ends the discussion of Module 8. So if you have any comments and suggestion, you can check the description box below. So that's all for now. See you in Module 9. Bye-bye.